My condolences goes out to Ma'khia Bryant and her family. Was the police officer justified in shooting Ma'khia Bryant? Or should he face the same consequences as ex-killer cop Derek Chauvin? Let's discuss it right here on the next episode of the Pure VIBEZ podcast show. Greetings, family, and welcome back to another episode of the Pure VIBEZ podcast show with your host, khiaBryant, aka the Fire the Fresh King. Today, I want to send my condolences to Ma'khia Bryant and her family, and to Dante Wright and his family. Today's topic I want to discuss is Ma'khia Bryant, and was the police officer justified in shooting her, or should he face the same consequences as ex-killer cop Derek Chauvin? I want to examine the footage of what happened to Ma'khia Bryant and see if there was another way or another method of this police officer handling that situation besides shooting the sister, the young queen sister, down with 4 bullets. Was there another way for this police officer to handle this matter instead of jumping out and just shooting down the young queen sister like that? I don't know. Police officers are trained differently, and I'm, for one, listen, man, my first experience being young and naive with police was 3 undercover police officers hanging out at a bodega or a corner store in Brooklyn, New York. I'm young and naive at the time. I'm going to the corner store. The undercover cop see me. He was like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he stretched out his hand like he wanted to give me a 5 or slap me a pound. I put my hand out and he dropped 2 bags of coke in my hands. And he said, "Oh, see, I could have got you there." And I dropped it real quick. I said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" You know? And he was like, "Oh yeah, see, we could have got you there." And that was really my first experience with police and how corrupted and dirty police could be. So I'll be the first to tell you, I will never defend police and their reckless behavior and killing of unarmed black innocent people. Let me be the first one to tell you that, because I know how dirty police can be, because most of my interactions with police growing up in Brooklyn always were negative, never good, and it was always them trying to add more insult to injury. So I'm saying that to say this. It does come a time though where we have to take accountability for our actions, you know. It comes a time where we have to take accountability for our actions though. Some of the times when I got ran up on, was I doing negative things, or was I in places that I probably shouldn't have been? Possibly, yeah. And the half of the time was police just racially profiling me because of the areas and certain places I was in and how I look and what I was dressed in or wearing at the time? Yes, that too. So when we examine the footage of this young queen sister, Ma'khia Bryant, and she's charging another young queen sister with a knife, and the police pulls up onto the scene and sees her going at the other queen sister with a knife, getting ready to stab her, and he shoots her down and kills her. Was that a justifiable killing? If that was your daughter, niece, sister, aunt, or anything in that situation about to be stabbed, would you have want that police officer to shoot down Ma'khia Bryant before she would have got to stab your family member or loved one? Would it have been justifiable then? Or do we look at it as a hate crime or a racist act that led this police officer to shoot this young queen sister down 4 times? As I said before, you know, sometimes we have to be accountable for our actions. I was having a conversation with my brother, Bill Biggs, and I said, "Bill, you know, I'm watching a Dante Wright video and it's gonna be a tough one, Bill. You know, the man had expired tags, he had a warrant, and then he tried to like run away from the police. So when he driving around like that, he's looking for police to pull him over, giving them a reason then to pull him over. You know what I mean? I said, then when he get pulled over, he fidgeted and tried to run and jump back in the car and escape and all that. Made a scene and made it worse to where the police and them have to get fidgety and claim they're drawing for a taser, draw for a gun and kill him. You see what I'm saying? Giving them more reason to want to kill. I told B, he shouldn't have run. He should have stayed there. He had a simple warrant. He should have just complied, took his lockup and his charge and just dealt with it and been alive the next day. But B made a perfect point to me when he said, suppose that young brother suffering from PTSD from all the killings and shootings that he see us going through out here, and he got nervous and scared and he ran off, the same way that police say they get nervous and scared and they suffer with PTSD and they start shooting and killing us with the slightest move or turn that we make. And I said, damn, I ain't never really think about it like that. You right, B. We do suffer from a PTSD, and I can tell you from all my experiences, anytime I seen police run, dip off, run somewhere, and always was running away from the police. So I could understand how the young man could get nervous and scared and want to run off. But at the same time, you can't ride around with a warrant and expired tags. You're asking to have an interaction with police in some point in time. Was that killer cop justifiable for killing a brother? No way, period. Because if that was my son or little brother or cousin or nephew or anything like that, I wouldn't have found no reasoning for him being killed or being so-called because this police officer that's supposed to be trained for all these years mistakenly shot off her gun instead of her taser, or mistake her taser for her gun. Like, that's just outrageous to me to even think about. But at the same time, like I say, we have to take some accountability for our actions though. You know what I mean? We can't be driving around 10 pounds in the car, no license, out of state tags, gun in the car. Like, sometimes we be doing too much. You know what I mean? And we be asking sometimes, like, to have interaction or to have interactions with the law. You know, me personally, I try to limit my interactions with the law as much as possible, because the less interactions I have with them, the better chance I have to live another day and go home to my family. It's really sad that we have to think this way and we have to move this way, but brothers and sisters, kings and queens, if we want to preserve our life, we gotta move a certain type of way too out here. Because these police and them, their fingers on their trigger and they're ready to kill quickly. We have to move in more black excellence, man. We have to move in more royal and loyal type of ways, man. You know what I mean? We can't give these police and them no type of leeway at all. You know what I mean? We can't give them no way to set it up or to flip the story or make it look a certain type of way. When a lot of times I'm looking at these videos and it's us out jumping each other, beating each other up, trying to stab each other, getting into fights and doing these things to ourselves, and we doing it to each other, and we giving other people and other races of people the mindset and the idea like, shit, if we don't care about ourselves, they're not going to give a shit about us, and they're willing to put bullets and kill us real quickly. You know what I mean? Without even thinking twice about it. Family, once again, I want to send my condolences to Dante Wright and his family, and Ma'khia Bryant and her family. Neither one of this young king or this young queen needed to be shot down and killed. But at the same time, family, we have to do better out here and we have to move more strategic. You know what I mean? When you're in a war, you have to move strategic in a war. Nobody goes to a war and just fights it any old type of way. There's a strategy and there's a plan. And for us to survive this what's going on these days, where young brothers and sisters are dying by the hands of police at the drop of a dime, we got to start moving better. We got to stop giving them reason, and we ain't even giving them no reason. And I'm not talking about a brother like George Floyd. You know what I mean? George Floyd was a whole totally different situation. You know, they just did that brother totally dirty and totally wrong. And Derek Chauvin, he deserved exactly what he got. I hope he get the maximum amount of time in prison. And I don't feel that we have nothing to celebrate about, because it's gonna happen again. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like there was justice when a brother had to lose his life in order for us to get this thing right. But when laws and things start changing to really make sure that these things don't continue and keep happening to us, then we could start to see a change gonna happen for us. But until then, the celebration is very small, The jubilation is very small. It's very minute because we're really not putting a dent in what the situation is. And that's that laws and certain things need to change to protect the situation that will make sure that we don't keep dying by the hands of police in these type of ways. I want to know whatever happened to non-lethal force, because this is when things start looking racial. When you start seeing videos of police on video talking shit like Blue Lives Matter right after this young sister was killed. Them kind of thing make you feel some type of way. Why are they doing this? Were they trying to protect the other young sister from being stabbed? Or are they doing this because they're out here headhunting black people? I don't know. But I've seen situations where white people that were violent, that executed people, taken in handcuffs, alive, strapped with military rifles on them after gunning down and killing people, taken into custody in handcuffs, no problem. Why is it when it comes to black people and people of color, we get gunned down and shot down in the street like a dog, but everybody else, they can bring every other type of killer and murderer in peacefully and humbly in handcuffs? Why is that? And this is why black people have a problem and start to look at things like, this has to be something against us as a race of a people if it keep happening to us on the magnitude and on the scale that it keep happening to us. What do you expect us to keep looking at these situations like? I just want to say that we need to try more in Black Excellence, family, and we need to try to do our best not to give these killers more reason to easily kill us. We need to value our lives and ourselves better so other people can value our lives and us better on a higher level. We need to start looking at ourselves as king and queens and understand that we come from a lineage of royalty and move as such and conduct ourselves in such of a way. So that way we can be respected by the masses and the outside people that look at us in that way too as well. So we definitely need to take some accountability for our actions too and some of the things that we do. So let's do it as much as we can do and move in a certain type of way so we can preserve our lives so that these killers can't be out here killing more young kings and queens. Yeah, family, this has been another episode of the Pure Vibes Podcast Show with your host, khiaBryant, aka the Fire and the Fresh King, saying peace, love, and prosperity. Until next time.